Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, March 9th, 2018. I am Dave Biddle. Very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker, as usual, on Fridays. J-Book, let's start off talking about quarterbacks. It's going to be the topic of discussion throughout spring. We knew it would be. Of course, earlier this week, Urban Meyer declined to name a starting quarterback. No surprise there. What do you make of that? And do you feel like Dwayne Haskins is ahead of Joe Burrow at this point if you just have to be real about it?
If I had to be real about it, I think it's Haskins, then Burrow. But as Urban has said, it's a neck-and-neck competition, so I think it's not a done deal by any means. So it's going to be a battle that takes place throughout spring. But one thing I found very interesting was Urban was very transparent about the conversations that he's had with Joe Burrow's family in regards to him not winning the quarterback job, that he would be looking to transfer. I thought that was very telling because in this situation, if Joe is looking to try to transfer out if he doesn't win the job, you will hope that Urban gives him the nod to tell him, hey, it's going to be Haskins' job so he can try to find a home before fall camp starts. So I thought that was very telling that he was very transparent about those conversations to the media.
He keeps mentioning Tate Martell. Is that just to keep Tate Martell kind of mentally in the mix, like, hey, you're not really like a third-string quarterback, you're in the mix here, or do you give validity to that? Do you feel like Tate Martell really is in the mix here?
I think he's in the mix, especially with the quarterback depth situation. If Joe does decide to transfer, Tate Martell is one play away from being the starter, especially with the freshman redshirting. So I think you definitely have to keep him in the mix, keep him entertained as far as being the quarterback in waiting. And I know Urban has said numerous times that they're very impressed with his development as a football player, as well as the development of a leader within his class. So definitely I'm buying into that. He's a heck of a football player. The guy came in very immature to all reports, and all indications are is he's on the right track, so you definitely keep him engaged.
Look at the wide receivers. You had a chance to interview Zach Smith yesterday after practice, and a few of the wide receivers. You know, I mean, they are really, really deep. I mean, like every receiver, like from last year's team, is back. They're a year older. You would think they're a year better. Just, break down this group for me. Do you view it as a strength, J-Book, or do you view it as a concern to some degree?
I think it's a strength, because anytime you can get that many guys back who has valuable game reps, you take that as a strength. Now, can those guys take their game to the next level? That's the question to be asked. A lot of people hear Zach Smith talking. A lot of people see him talking boastful on Twitter. But the big question is, can your unit turn into primetime players? And we haven't seen that. They've been okay, as Urban has said. They've been all right. One thing I did find very telling is that Ryan Day is going to be much more heavily involved with the development of the wide receivers this spring. I don't know if that's an indictment on Zach Smith and his coaching ability, that the offensive coordinator is having to get involved with your group, but the stakes are high. This team has the potential to make a run into the playoffs, and they're going to need those wide receivers to step up big, especially when you have a potential pocket passing quarterback, whereas those windows that the balls were getting knocked down and they weren't seeing the ball coming out the last several years with Barrett, those balls are going to come out hot and heavy with Dwayne Haskins. So we're going to need those guys to step up. There's no reason why, with the talent that they have, that they don't have a monster season. And you mentioned all the guys, the depth and stuff that they have. You also have some younger guys who's out there trying to make a name for themselves, and some older guys, not necessarily older guys, but some guys that are sophomores that are still yet to prove themselves, but a lot of hype behind their name.
Yeah, every time I'm asked about Ohio State's wide receivers, J-Book, I mean, somebody asked me, like, who's going to be the guy that really steps up as the guy? And, like, I really hope that, like, you know, there's like a Mike Thomas or a Michael Jenkins or a Joey Galloway in this group. I don't see it, but if there's one guy I would have to say that could emerge as somewhat of a number one wide receiver, it would be Austin Mack. Just want to get your thoughts on that. Do you agree? And if not, like, who do you think might emerge as like a true number one receiver on this team?
I think Mack has the potential. I mean, KJ Hill, he can be a heck of a possession receiver. Mack, he has the potential, but he needs to put it all together on a consistent basis. But depending on how they use Paris Campbell has the potential to be a household name with his speed and athleticism. Can he catch the football is always the major question mark with him. But the guy that I'm looking at that they're saying is an absolute monster is Jalen Harris. Can he emerge and push Ben Victor? I think he can. And I think he has the size and the athleticism to be that red zone target, as well as a guy that can go up and win those 50-50 balls.
I like that Jalen Harris reference. He does. He looks good. I mean, it was like we were out there watching them go through drills. Like, no one's hitting them, no one's even defending them. So if you're a wide receiver, it's kind of like you couldn't imagine a better scenario. You can't get hit, no one can even defend you. But Jalen Harris looks good. I mean, he's every bit of 6'5". I mean, if he was listed as 6'6", you would buy it. And really good hands, extremely athletic for his size. I like that. Jalen Harris is a guy to keep an eye out for. Good call, J-Book. Hey, before I let you go, let's switch gears to some basketball. Obviously, Selection Sunday here now 2 days away, especially after 2 years of not having the Buckeyes in the tournament. It's going to be exciting this Sunday to see where they're at. I don't know. I think it's pretty much down to a 4 or a 5 seed. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could be a 6, but I think it's pretty much a 4 or a 5. If you had to bet right now, what seed do you think the Buckeyes will get on Selection Sunday?
I see them as a 5 seed. And I actually hope that they get a 6 seed if the bracket that's been leaked out of the projections where Ohio State's going to land at, they're basically in the FBI watch list bracket in the West with Kansas and Arizona and Auburn, a lot of those, North Carolina. That's a brutal bracket if they get placed out west with all of those teams as a 5 seed, which there's rumors that's where they're going to be headed. And if they get in that bracket, they're going to definitely have their work cut out for them. One thing could really help this basketball team is having this break. These guys get their legs back since the Big Ten tournament was a week ahead of everybody else. But I hope they get a favorable bracket and seed there, but I'm looking at a 5, hopefully a 6, so that they can get out of that West Coast FBI bracket.
Great stuff, as always, from my guy Jonah Booker. Thank you very much. J-Book, you can read his column every week on Bucknuts. It is outside Columbus. You can catch him on Twitter at JBook37. Thank you very much, Jonah Booker. And thanks to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.